Hello North fans. For an AFLW week, what an absolute roller coaster we have had. I had the high of highs on last Saturday night watching a great contest. We get home in the fourth, meeting some players afterwards. And then we learn about the injuries to Erica and Mia and Eilish. And who loves a debut video? Abby Favell, number 68. Oh, I love Thursday afternoons, and I've been so disappointed by not seeing 42 must play in the other program, but Abby, welcome. And then the news late this afternoon about Mia King out for the season and not coming back from Brisbane. And this is a little bit morose, but you never know when you're going to see a player play for the last time. And we all know if the surgery went well, she'll come back and play again. But if there's any complications, I'd hate to think I saw her play for the last time in the royal blue and white. But anyway, we've got more happy, joyous things to talk about than that. So welcome to Up North, a North Melbourne fan podcast from up north of the Murray. And this is a game day preview of our AFLW women going south to our home away from home at UTAS in Launceston. And today I learned we have never lost to the Bulldogs. 5-0, never met in the finals. That really surprised me. And there's also an eerie similarity between this game and our first meeting in 2019, which was also round 3, was also at UTAS, and was also both teams coming in undefeated. And back then we did really well, winning by 30 points. So I hope history can repeat. And I've called this episode The Dogs Are Barking because at 3/4 time last week, Craig Starcevich came out and said his players had a chance to make history. And then Isabel Pritchard, the captain, come out and said in her pre-match interview this week that the Dogs don't deserve to be written off, and I agree with that. And also, why can't they have a shot at history? That's fair enough as well. Everyone loves to knock down the reigning premier, and to knock down the team with the longest winning streak and longest undefeated streak in AFL, VFL, AFLW history. Good on them. Come for us. I'm sure we'll be ready. That brings me to Abby Favell. What a great story. And I'm going to mix my timeline up here a bit, where AFLW Daily has already come out and said North Melbourne's on the hunt for Zippy Fish. And can we get the swan from the Black Swan State to fly south for us, North? And I don't know how realistic it is. I'm just enjoying the season. Trade period's a long way away, but I do know clubs start early. And I understand some clubs being upset at North Melbourne getting a former number 1 draft pick last year, the double hyphen, and maybe getting last year's Rising Star winner and Australian representative next year. And I understand those concerns because in our males program, we get Spargo, and the reigning premiers get a club captain in Oscar Allen and get Sam Draper and father sons. So I understand that concern. And I'm not going to downplay it, but boy, isn't it nice to be on the right side of history, because very rarely in the men's program have we ever got the big fish. Shannon Grant might have been the closest, but I'm going to get back to talking about the women. And there's another story that I'd heard before, but I read about it again today. 2018, North Melbourne knows they've got the licence coming in, and this weekend's rivals, the Western Bulldogs, are playing Collingwood. And Emma Kearney, who has a long history with our program through Melbourne University, captained that side, won multiple best and fairest there. That was a part of our strong pitch to be in the inaugural AFLW season. But they had to have Collingwood for the numbers, and we know how well that's worked. Yeah, cheap shot, but we know how well that's worked. But Emma Kearney, at the end of that game, went up to Jasmine and said along the lines of, I like those stripes, but it'd be better if they were blue and white. And that planted a seed that Jazzy has said later she wasn't thinking of North. And Emma Kearney went on to be a Premiership player that year, All-Australian, best and fairest in the competition. She joined us as our inaugural captain and took us to our first Premiership, and then handed over to Jasmine as captain, who took us on to our second Premiership. And it just goes back to that a long time ago. And then I had a look at some of the other names we've drafted over the years, like Libby, Birch and Eilish, Sheerin. We had to give up first round draft picks for. Amy Smith was a father-daughter. We got Talia Randall and Emma Kearney through expansion rules. Kim Rennie, we tried to trade for her and couldn't get it done, so she left her Bulldogs contract on the table and we got her in the draft. So we've done it a number of ways. Of course, the most spectacular success we've had is Ash Riddell, overlooked in multiple drafts. And I don't think lightning's striking twice with the Ash Riddell story. But Abby Favell has travelled a similar journey, coming out of the Geelong VFLW and then being overlooked in multiple drafts, coming across to us, proving her worth. She is currently 6th in the VFLW Coaches Awards, and she was a travelling emergency last week, so that makes things a bit tough for her too. So there's a player that we've looked at from another club, brought into our VFLW program, and has earned not just a list spot, but now a debut. So how awesome is that? North Melbourne has built a strong program that is attractive to other players, and we're not sitting there just relying on getting star free agents in. We are attracting talent in every way possible. Good on Croc, Jen Watt, Sonia Hood and our recruiting team. What an amazing effort. In some other news this week, it has been a big week. No, it has been a huge week for our team in the media. AFLW Daily had Ruby Tripodi on a day match day preparation. Ruby Tripodi also has doubled up. The lads from Launceston have interviewed her on Shinbona's podcast. If you haven't seen that one, of all weeks, heart goes out to the Nepalese people. This week, North also released the mini documentary North in Nepal about our off-season adventures there. And finally, Talking North, check the spelling, has Kate Shearlaw on this week. Now, I haven't watched the Kate Shearlaw or the Shinbona's podcast yet. It's been a very busy week, which is why this is coming out Saturday morning, not Friday night. But I've got them saved to my watch list for this weekend. Looking forward to hearing both of those. The other thing this week, our club will be wearing their Indigenous jersey representing 33 current and past Indigenous players at North Melbourne. There's also a great story about the boots. It's such a shame Eilish won't be there this weekend to wear hers, because it includes an Indigenous perspective of her journey from Ireland to us. But I love what clubs are doing now in Indigenous rounds, and the boots. I've got one or two here. What a magnificent effort. Just before I wrap up, no love for Ash Riddell from up north, it seems. I do check the coaches' votes each week, and at the moment, Ash is on 18 out of 20 and leading the way, and I have her on 4 out of 10. And I'll be honest, both weeks I've said, I can't believe she's so low. She's worthy of much more based on ground status, but just call it the way I see it. I don't think I'm going to let it influence me this Saturday. I actually have a family function a couple of hours outside Brisbane during game time, and there's very limited internet up there. But as soon as we get home, the family knows I'm locked away onto KO, catching up on the game. So let's go, girls. I'm not really worried about the margin. I'm sure we'll bring it home again, because I'm going to say this every week. We know we can rise 4 quarters, even if we're severely challenged. Who can go 4 quarters with us? So far, Geelong went 1, Brisbane went 2, 2.5. Let's see what the Dogs have got, because they're certainly barking. If you got this far, thank you so much. Appreciate the support, the likes, especially the comments. How do you think we're going to go? Your thoughts on Abby Favell or any of our ins or outs? Do you think we should be going for Zippy, or is it realistic? So thank you so much. I'm enjoying interacting with the community here. And until next time, up north!